Welcome everybody to our weekly group call for 26th of January. Hope you've all had a fantastic weekend. I know some of you guys have had some really good results with the trading last week, and thank you for sharing that too. And a lot of personal messages, a lot of emails. So, thank you for the continued support and the feedback, which is really powerful for me to work with. And I had quite a busy week myself. I was doing quite a few updates to the system, the DTB Trader system, just working on improvements to the speed and the optimization processes. So with some really fantastic results. Okay, so we're going to cover a few things today. There's some of the results shared. So, some of you guys are posting in the Discord chat for the group results. So thank you for that. It's going to be vitally important over the next week that we share results of the game plan that we're going to be running. We're also going to be covering one of the indicators in the DTB system, and this indicator is quite important to understand because it's one of the new filters inside one of the automated strategies. So we're going to be looking at that, and then we're also going to be looking obviously at the Modena Wick Trader strategy again, because that's the one with the updated filter in it, as well as the entry management. And then we're also going to load up the game plan for the week ahead to, to see how to see what that looks like and what strategies are going to be running, and we'll deal with that. Okay, so let me switch over to this. So I'm getting quite good with this software. I still haven't sorted out this green screen thing. That's a bit complicated. I just haven't had the patience or time to go and actually work on that specifically, but we'll get there. Okay, so look at our signal chart. So before we jump into everything on our agenda, look at the amazing signals that we received from that. So even today, starting off the session, as you can see, we just had a downtrend the whole way. We had a few instances where, the bars reversed, the support levels kind of held. Even very recently, a few minutes ago, we had the price break through this fan line that we had over here. We had the bar coloring change, this tomato color. So, that tomato color, for those of you who might not be aware, and even for the complementary users, that is significant, a major, overbought area. So when it shows the tomato color, and then when it shows the cyan colors like this, we're getting a major oversold. So, those coloring change. And I know at the beginning of the session, you can see we had a bit of a gap. So at the beginning of the session, if you have a major gap down, then you'll see it'll show major oversold, and then it'll come into play. It'll start working, catching up and everything. And then you'll find that, as the price is moving normally, what we consider normal, then you'll start seeing that, when these bars change color, like this, and it's so precise too. So when they change color and you've got an arrow saying, that's a long condition, that's when you can enter the market to go long, even if it's just for scalping. And especially when you see, coloring bar changes like that, you have really good opportunities to enter some scalping trades and jump in and out the market. So, really powerful signals. As you can see, they work pretty consistently. Now, you don't go and jump on every single signal that comes through. You just, make sure that you're using the right money management approach. So you're not going to be gambling on every single signal. You're not going to be just putting the house down on every signal. You're going to be using smart money management approach and, not overtrade it. But you're going to get a lot of these trades right. And especially when you're looking at different support levels. I know, like this one over here, as an example, this one over here, a lot of people might not actually even take because it's right into a Fibonacci level. But what you can do is once it breaks through, and you can work on that confirmation, and then, look at the reversal at the next confirmation or the next Fibonacci level. So, you can be looking at a few different aspects of the chart to determine, where the breakout volume markers are. So they're also very important. It's like there was one that was just left behind right now. So there's the white breakout marker. And, you're obviously seeing where the Fibonacci levels are. You're seeing the coloring of the bars. So even just getting in a bit later, can also be beneficial if you want a confirmation of a move happening. So always, one of the favorite charts to use, the show me the money chart. We're going to be doing a lot more work and understanding of these charts as we go along. We've got our take it and run chart, which again is another one of our incredible signal charts. And just going to the beginning of the session, you'll see how the price is coming down using this fan or using this jawline as resistance, breaking through slightly. So there's quite a few aspects to look at, and then ultimately using your smoothing average as your trailing. So there's a lot of very powerful tools to look at here, especially when you want to just be in and out the market in a short period of time. Okay, so that was what we were looking at first. We were looking at so our DTB Keltner channel. So let's jump out of the indicator sample. So if I just close this workspace, I'm not going to save it because I run the whatever I save on here, it basically ends up in the script. So I've got to be careful, what I save. Okay, so I'll just bring up this chart's up, so I might as well start with this one. So we've got an indicator in our tool suite, and we haven't really discussed this one too much lately, but it's one that really helps with determining chop in the market. So we'll go to our Keltner Bollinger channel, which is this one over here. And I'll just load the default settings, 12, 1.2, 10, 50. So let's just see what that looks like. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And what happens is at the beginning of a trading day, it does wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It waits 11 bars before it starts plotting. Okay, so actually I might just adjust that on a future, on the next update to plot a bit earlier. It's just giving it some time to reset properly. But, this is only an issue at the beginning of a session, right? It's not an issue as you progress during the day. So this is quite a simple indicator. And the Keltner channel is nothing new. The Bollinger Bands are nothing new. But there's been a few enhancements that I've made to this. So you'll notice that, these purple lines over here is showing the Keltner channel itself. So if you go into your indicator settings and you look at that specific setting values, you will see over here, you've got a period value. So obviously the larger you make the period, it's going to have more of a smoothing effect, right? So it's just going to have like more of an average effect. So, that is basically using like a much larger time period, and it's basically smoothing out the price. So generally when the price is within an area like this, it's more like, it's like running sideways. It's only when it breaks out, so this is like a choppy, it's like identifying chop basically. So when the price is within this band, you're basically identifying chop. When it breaks out of the band, that's basically a trend. So this is a way of also identifying, what type of market are we in? Are we in a trend? Are we in a bit of a chop situation? And, very often you'll see the price can just bounce around in this chop. And then when it shoots out of it, it goes for it. So a handy tool just to know right away, what the general consensus is of the market. And I have to go a bit back on the chart, unfortunately, just because we've had obviously a big gap and then the indicator's only plotting from there. So there's a few things we can change on here. So if I go back into the indicator settings, you will see that we've got obviously our period. So the period is the Bollinger period. So, you can adjust this, and you'll see when you adjust it, it also kind of evens out a lot more. We can work on different values over there. It just evens out. So you guys, there's a lot of videos on the Bollinger channel. I mean, the Bollinger Bands. There's nothing too much I need to add to that. But I'm going to just pop this on a 15, and then you also got the standard deviation. So the standard deviations are in increments of 0.1. So you can actually adjust that. So if you want to go 1.5, that'll obviously widen the bands. And actually, while I've got that in play, I've actually, if you just want to run the Bollinger Bands, this is on a side note, if you just want to run the Bollinger Bands by themselves, I've actually got a indicator in here that I've done extensive work on, and it's something that I'm going to introduce to later tools. It's called a DTB Bollinger. So same thing applies over there, okay? But this one over here, it actually has a slider that can be used. And as you adjust the slider, it actually adjusts the bands. And I need to make this in increments of 0.1. So I've got to actually work on, I just got to make a small adjustment to this. But that is just, a way of, if you've got a chart running, whatever size chart you are working with. See, this one actually plots and continues, which is pretty good. So you can basically use this as your, while you're trading in real time, and you can position the Bollinger Bands in real time without having to go into the indicator individually and adjusting it. So that's pretty cool. Again, I just need to adjust the standard deviations to include 0.1 increments. Okay, so I'll jump out of that, close. But the cool thing about this is, in the future, we're going to be able to adjust the indicators on the chart just with using sliders. So that's something that we're going to look forward to down the track. Okay, so coming back here. All right, so we've got our channel, as I said. Now, you've also got a few additional little things over here. So you've got, obviously, the channel period, but you've also got an offset value. So if I just expand this slightly, okay, so the offset from middle line, double this is channel width. So basically between this, the start and the end of the channel is a middle line, right? And I think you can actually show this middle line if you wanted to, although we don't do it on here. So that's just the middle line of the channel. Now you can actually say, how wide do I want this channel? So we're looking at different periods, and this is one of the enhancements that I made. So if you put 50 ticks here, that means that from the middle line to the top, it's going to be 50. From the middle line to the bottom, it's going to be 50. So if I go and change this to like a 70, it's going to just increase the width of that band. And obviously, if you increase it down to any other value, it's going to decrease the size. So you're basically narrowing down. The specific area that you are identifying in the market. So that's what that specific one does. And I'll just put it back to, I'll put it at 100, and then that actually makes it a lot wider. Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so then that, as you can see, that made it a lot wider in the, on the chart. So, I mean, I don't work with it too much myself. I had a member that really was, into the Keltner and the Bollinger. So I combined this together. But what it will do is, as a filter on the strategy that we're going to look at in a moment, it's going to filter out positions based on what you are setting in here. So back to 50. you'll see that. And, and the cool thing is you can use this on any type of chart. So even if you go to like a range chart, it's going to do the same. And I'm just monitoring. Oh, far out. Sorry, you guys have just mentioned something and I just realized I wasn't sharing my damn chart. Bloody hell. Yeah, sorry guys, that was my bad. Well, that was completely helpful, right? Very helpful. Okay. Anyway, technical, hey? So, from everything I just said, when you're looking at the chart right now, this is what we were talking about, okay? All right, this is what we were talking about. And I'm just going to reload that 5-minute chart. That's stupid. There's too many buttons and crap on here, man. Anyway, okay. So I'll just do a few more visualizations. Yeah, that's how I do these videos live. You see, I'm not, a lot of you're going to see very, 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 very few people go and do live videos like this. They will go and, do majorly edited videos, pick up the very best parts, and come out with this amazing presentation. And oh my God, this guy's freaking awesome. Let's buy this bullshit he's promoting. Meanwhile, like I'm trying to be raw and honest here, and yeah, I do stuff up sometimes. But where I don't stuff up is in providing the very best tools available, not the crappy software I've got to work with to do videos. Okay, enough ranting. So indicators. So again, I'll show you the indicator settings. There's your period, your Bollinger. You got your width, your deviations, your Keltner channel. Like I said, the offset from the middle line is this one over here. So you're basically choosing the width of that. And I put 10. So you've also got an opacity. So if you want to highlight this, very specific channel and you want to change the opacity of it, you can also change the coloring of it. So you can make it, a much more dominant coloring on the screen too. And obviously the color of it also. So just a way of identifying basically what the trend is at the moment, where the price is in relation to it, whether it's in a breakout phase or within a chop phase. So it's a good idea to just play around with this indicator for a while, just to get more understanding on it. And thanks to the guys mentioning that in the group calls chat. I've got to keep an eye on that. All right, so I did say that the next thing we were going to look at is going to be our Modena Wick Trader strategy. So this is going to be combining what we covered on this Keltner channel, and we're going to be looking at that within the strategy. So I'm going to make sure I switch back to my screen again. Okay. And I'm going to go to the control center over here and go to my workspace, because we created a workspace for the Modena Wick Trader strategy, which is this one over here. So if you guys load that up, if you want to follow along with this specifically, okay. And what you can also do, because I noticed that the one indicator is just making the price jump a little bit. So if you go into your indicator settings, just remove the flat baseline indicator. So the flat baseline indicator, it's fine to use when you are centering the price on scale, because it basically gives you the the price completely centered, so that any lines are basically visible where the next baselines are. So instead of using this, you can actually specifically use the ticks, the other marker that we have, which is the ticks above below baseline. So you can use that as your value, which is this one over here. And that'll tell you, where your current baseline is, which is the yellow line, and then where the price is in relation to that. Okay, so going to the strategy now. So we're going to go load up the Modena Wick Trader strategy. And I'm just going to activate this with default settings. Okay, I'll just put on the Sim 101, that's fine. Okay, so if you activate it with default settings, you're going to just wait for it to calculate. You're going to notice that it's going to load a lot quicker too. So all the strategies and indicators just load a lot quicker. So that's definitely a beneficial thing. And you're going to notice on here there's a new button there called Keltner on. So that is going to be using the Keltner settings. So if you go into the strategy settings specifically now, you'll be able to look at. So I might just disable it temporarily. Okay, so from the top, we covered a lot of these settings in the last couple of videos. We've got all our normal daily profits, targets, our retracement levels, our blackout period. So all of that is just standard. But immediately after all of the trading days, you're going to see that this is the section for the Keltner channel. So over here, you can click the box to use it. You don't have to click it on here because you can click it on the chart also. But these are the values that you're setting in there. So once you've determined your very specific Bollinger Band periods, your deviations, your chop zone, how wide you want the channel, these are the 4 settings that are inside the indicator. Okay, so, so that's going to determine when the strategy trades based on those specific settings that you've put in that channel. Now, I haven't got an option to add the indicator to the chart within the strategy because that just adds a lot of extra overhead and overload to NinjaTrader and the strategy functioning. But you can add the indicator on additionally. So that's something that you can do. Now, in this section over here with the Bollinger Band, you're also going to see one more setting, which is specifically loaded within the strategy, not the indicator. So as you saw on the chart earlier, and if I quickly bring up the screenshot of that chart, which is this one over here, you will see that the middle Bollinger Band is this orange line, or this yellowy orange line. Now that orange line that you're looking at is the middle Bollinger line. So switching back to the screen here. So this option that you have over here is you can tell the strategy, hey, I only want to trade when the price is within X amount of ticks of that middle Bollinger Band. So, what we basically are trying to identify with this is we're trying to find where the market is in a choppy situation, because the Modena Wick Trader strategy really thrives trading in a choppy environment. So that is what this is going to do. So you can say, I want to trade within 50 ticks. I want to trade 100 ticks. And this is either side of that middle Bollinger Band line. So that's why I've tried to make it as clear as possible. Trade within tick zone of middle Bollinger line to enter position. So this is the specific value in ticks that the strategy would enter on. And it's important to know that the DTB Bollinger channel is on the very specific chart that you are trading on. So I'm going to just add this to the chart. So 12, 1.2, 10, 50. Okay, so I'm going to do this. And what I might do is I might just remove the other indicators for now, because that is going to just complicate things a little bit, or just, not complicate things, but just hide some of the values. So I'm going to just remove the brick wall indicator, all of this, and I'm going to add in that indicator, which is the Bollinger Keltner channel. And you'll see that the actual default settings inside here are the ones inside the indicator, or inside the strategy. Okay, so this is, and also to remove the middle data series is something that we'll have to do. Okay, so this is what it looks like on this specific chart. So we basically are trading where the price is, and I know it's a bit hard to see this. I mean, you might, it's probably a lot more identifiable on like a 15-minute chart, or even one of the range charts. So, we can bring it up on either of those. So the default settings, I mean, they're just there as default because that's what the indicator is defaulting as. But, whatever chart that you are going to trade on, whatever value that you are going to trade on, it's good to identify, what that very specific range is of price. Like, that is very close, right? So, that's why it's first important to understand how the indicator works, what the range is that you want to trade within, and work on that. So like we had 100 there earlier, right? So that's going to be that, and then you got your tick offset, and you can change that to 100, so increase the width of it. So basically all we're trying to do is identify when the price is within the channel and where the price is in relation to the middle Bollinger Band, because we want to be able to identify just an area where there's chop in the market. So that is what that specific filter is going to do. So in a situation where the price is above the channel like this, it's not going to enter any trades. So if you had to activate the automated strategy trading on a chart like this, and the price is outside of that channel, it's not going to enter any positions on that at all. And I might just switch this to like a 60 range chart, because that's a nice way of looking at it too. And obviously these are quite wide settings, right? But very often you're going to notice there's going to be a little bit of chop within the within that channel, because that is basically, this is basically a type of indicator that identifies chop in the market. Okay, so going back to this, I'm going to switch it back to that. So we've covered the Keltner channel. So review that first. It's very important to look at that. And I'm just going to close this workspace because I want to bring it up again. I want to bring it up again with the settings that it had. Okay, so that was all with all the default indicators and tools that were on it. And we'll go back to the Modena Wick Trader strategy. So I hope some of you guys actually had some time to trade this chart during the week, because it's, I traded this the previous week, and I'll share my results on that in a moment. But I'll just load this up again, and again, I'm just going to load the default settings, which you can do. So if you load the default settings, you still have option to be able to change them to whatever, specific values that you want. So as an example, you can say, well, I don't want to use the Keltner channel on this specific chart. So I'm going to tick the box or put it off. And, I don't want to space out the trade. So I'm going to click on the account button, which will take away the space out trades. And then you've got your retracement levels, which is there. You've got your minimum distance, your maximum distance. Obviously your maximum distance, you can adjust based on the size of the bar that you're working on. So because we've got a 369 bar, we can actually adjust this all the way up to like the 300s. And then what that will do is it's giving us our specific zone where the strategy can enter trades. We've obviously still got our delay. So, the strategy will only enter positions once that delay has passed. So we've got our delay, which we covered this before. So we don't have to go into that now. But, trading this chart, and if I look back at my Modena Wick Trader chat on Discord, and funny enough, on Friday, like I shared this in the Modena Wick Trader chat, on Friday, I started the strategy at 9:55 a.m. and I let it run on 3:55 p.m. completely just unattended. And this was even just on a 5-minute chart. And it entered a lot of trades, but it still ended up with an 1,100 profit, even after paying commissions and all that. So, that is just activating the strategy and letting it trade just on the retracement that was set. Now, it's not a set and forget strategy, like I've said. It's something that you manage, and this was even before I put the button in. But when you've got a strategy like this, you've got a lot of ability or a lot of options to be able to start and pause it, choose when it's actually going to be entering positions. So like this specific one over here is going to only enter positions based on the on this candle over here, because it's loaded on this specific candle. And then one of the other options too, the small little updates that I made to this, was the max quantity entries. So you can choose how many entries you want to enter. So I've tested this thoroughly and it works absolutely beautiful. So you can say, I want to enter maximum of 20 entries or 21, whatever that was. And you can say, but I want it to be in increments. So I'll adjust this to 20, and it's just a slight adjustment. So you can say, I want 20 entries, but I'm okay for each entry to be in increments of 2. So what will happen now is every single entry that enters from this point on will enter a 2 contract size. So, that's what that is going to do. So it's going to go up to 20 entries with a maximum of 2. And at any time, if you want to change the values, you can just use the sliders over here. Obviously, you can adjust the retracement too. I'll take off this crosshair. So, that is what that is specifically going to do over there. And you can switch on and off your Keltner channel, depending on whether you're going to be minding the strategy or you're going to be choosing when the strategy enters. So if you're using the Keltner channel and you decide, hey, actually, this is a place where I would like the strategy to enter positions, then you can untick the box to disable the Keltner channel. So then it will obviously enter positions in the range that it isn't at the moment. And then adjusting your retracement levels, it just takes a few seconds for it to actually kick in, but then the strategy will start entering positions on that again. So, definitely use this. I know last week we were stuffing around with a minute chart, but with this, we know that there's only one of 2 things that can happen with price on this. So, going back to our indicator settings, we did add on something a little bit earlier, which was our let me just get it again. Ticks above, below baseline. Where are you? That's at the bottom. Okay. And it'll be 370. So we're still seeing where our baseline is, and we know that if the price touches this red line over here, that's where the new baseline is. So we're still seeing what's happening with price while it is running on this wick. Because remember, as a bit of a refresher, like this is the baseline, And all of these bars that you are seeing here is what the price has been doing since it has deviated from the baseline. So that is what that is going to be doing. And remember, you've also, if you're seeing the signal charts, remember we loaded up signal charts and had a look at them. But, based on what you are seeing on signal charts, that's when you can start and pause the strategy. Obviously, you can choose your long only, your short only options. Now, if you, for example, chose short only now, you're going to find that the positions are actually going to exit because you've changed your direction bias. I'm just checking if there's anything else in here that you've asked. No, that's all fine. So, definitely spend some time working, with the strategy, working on, this size chart or any size chart that you want to use. So, whatever baseline chart that you want to use, just make sure that you got your delay right. I mean, you can keep your delay right at a minimum because, that can also obviously be adjusted in real time. You got your minimum distance where you want the strategy to trade. So that can be adjusted. So if I adjust this to say 92, the strategy will only trade between there and, whatever other value that I put there. So like there is 2 values there. So I know I've covered this before specifically, but some of you guys still just need some refreshers on that. So by selecting the minimum distance and the maximum distance, you're basically specifically selecting where you want the strategy to trade on that specific wick or on every single wick going forward. And another thing, you can see we've got lots of data on the chart. So you can choose, hey, you know what? I don't want to see the entries on the 369 bar. I only want to see them on the 2020. I'm going to click on apply, and then that'll only show you the entries based on the secondary data series that you've put in there. Okay, so I hope you guys can work with the strategy during the week. I still prefer to trade this strategy specifically on a bar like this, where you've got your your guaranteed price levels. We covered this in the past, where we've actually got guaranteed price levels. We know for a fact that the price is either going to return to this baseline over here, or it's going to come back and adjust and hit this price over here, which is this baseline. So, that is what there's nothing else the price can do. So based on what we're seeing on signal charts, we can determine where price is likely to go next, and then we can also adjust the direction preference of where we are happy to trade it. So that's basically it I wanted to cover on there. And then you still got your signal chart. So you've still got the option to add in your DTB signal chart. So along with your Kelton channel, along with your trade direction, you still got those filters in there that you can use to filter out positions. And if you keep clicking on it, it'll filter through them, but eventually it'll come to the off section where it's basically switched off. Now, obviously, we're not going to just start the strategy randomly and just let it run. We are going to be looking at different signal charts. So going back to the signal chart over there, we'll just pop on 3 days. And this is where you can load your signal charts. So template, load, and then you've got all your signal charts in here that you can basically work with for your direction bias. And then if you've got it on the same account that you have started it on, then it's going to show there. So, looking at what the price is doing, it's going to tell you, what you should be doing, right? So you're only going to activate a strategy when you are noticing that, the price is in the right location. The signals are telling you or giving you good indication of going a specific direction, and go from there. And you might not always get it right. You might activate a strategy, panic, and then close the positions, but always look at what the breakout volume markers are doing. Look at where the price is in relation to your entries. Look at, what the arrows are telling you, where the price is. I know we're currently in seller territory, but we do have some breakout volume markers left behind. So, you know, there's good signals on here to help us identify, like there's another breakout marker left behind there, the blue one, on an up bar. So look at where the breakout markers are being left behind. Are they being left behind on an up bar or a down bar? And then that'll also give you, you know, obviously after the bar has closed. So look at where the bar has closed, and then, you know, that'll give you a good indication of, you know, where price is going to go after that. Cool. So that is what we covered there, you know, and you've also got your brick walls, right? So you've got your SI indicator, which is coloring the bars for you. So you also know that, you know, when the bars are red, there's a high likelihood of price going up or going down. And then when the bars are green, you know, that's a brick wall hitting that. So coming back over here, I just want to change this quickly just to markers. There we go. So that's going to plot, if you go into your indicators, which is your SI indicator, this should actually be on bar close. There's one of the small updates that I have actually adjusted to that. So make sure that's on bar close. So all of your SI indicators are on bar close. The other ones can be on each tick, depending on how they set up. Breakout volume definitely on each tick. But the SIs are calculated on bar close. Okay, so that was that. And okay, so the next thing I wanted to do was go to the trading week ahead for the game plan. So we've got our game plan template, which I just loaded up over there, which is the workspace for the game plan. And you'll notice that the document I've prepared has been updated. So this is the updated document for the game plan. I've got the 4 templates in there. We're trading MNQ from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. We're trading MNQ 9:35 to 11:05. And then the third chart is the NQ. And we're using a different strategy on here, which is the DTB Analytical Strategy 1 Minis. So, you know, the baseline wick trader strategy is a strategy that really focuses on or thrives during choppy conditions. Now, as we know, over the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of things being said, right? Like, I'm going to buy Greenland. It's like, oh shit, they're going to buy Greenland. Let's, you know, shoot the market up. So, you know, we're going to have a lot of things that happen where the market could shoot in either direction. Whereas in the previous administration in the US, not much was actually done, and it was pretty flat most of the time. So when we have a lot of action, a lot of speaking, and a lot of intentions being put out into the market, it does shift the market in directions, like quite quickly. It can shoot up 200, 300, 400 ticks, can shoot down 300, 400, 500 ticks, and it can happen. All that can happen in a few minutes. So the baseline wick trader strategy is more suited for situations where there's chop, which is why it works also extremely well during the Asian session, because there's not too much happening there. But the specific strategy that I've added for this chart, which is the minis, okay, this specific strategy, what it does is it enters positions based on the brick walls, but it enters long when there's a long signal and short when there's a short signal. It doesn't like do a reversal trade. So baseline wick trader does reversal trades, whereas the analytical strategy is basically trading with the trend. So you've still got your entries that you can choose, you know, which specific entries, first entry, second entry, the trade size, like there we've got 1-1. And we've got our stop ticks and target ticks for individual things. So I'm expecting this strategy to really, you know, kick ass this week. And what I'll do is I can enable it using the indicator. So a lot of their strategies are set up not to have the indicator loaded, and that's just to keep the resources down of NinjaTrader. So you can activate it using an indicator, and what that'll do is it'll just color the bars. So you'll see over there, like there's the coloring of the bars. Now this is only going to start trading at 9:35 a.m. and up to 11. So what this does, and if I scroll back to the brick walls, so you'll see how these brick walls plot. So what this is going to do is it's going to enter trades at those brick walls. So as soon as there's a signal, like over there, it had a long, a short, a long, and then it had its profit target. So it wasn't a fantastic day, this one, or that wasn't specifically awesome. But over here, it's going to have short position, and then it's going to identify where the price is in relation to those brick walls, and it's going to act on those. And it's going to close automatically when the signal changes and then chase its target profit. So you'll see that those trades had their own specific target ticks for each of the entries. So, and another very, very, very cool thing to do is, even if you're not trading this live on your live account, if you have the strategy running on Sim and you are looking at where these brick walls are, they also provide an exceptionally brilliant way of reading the market, because when the bars are green, it's likely to go up. When the bars are red, or when there's a changeover signal, that's what's going to happen. So very often you're going to see how these brick walls are going to push the price in certain directions. So just like we see on our other tool, on the Modena Wick Trader strategy, by using the coloring of the bars and the specific settings in this. So like here we have a 40-20 bar. So on a Modena Wick Trader strategy, we can actually add the second data series as a 40-20 and use the indicator as 410, because this is an optimized bar size that we have created. So you can certainly do that on the Modena Wick Trader strategy that we just looked at in a few minutes ago. And instead of just using like a default 2-2 setting, you can actually change the second data series to a 40-20 instead of the 20-20 that it has. And then also have the brick wall indicator as a 410 setting, because that is going to show us very, very clearly where these prices are, where the market is likely to go next based on where those support and resistance levels are. And you can see historically they're just plotting beautifully. They plot extremely well. So this is only designed to trade between those specific hours. So that's what that's going to do. So make sure you activate it after, make sure you activate it later in the session. And you can see we've had major just red bars there. So this has just been going down, down, down. And as soon as you are happy with the settings on your chart, remember, you've got to match it up to your game plan, right? So go to your game plan document and make sure that your screenshots are matching on there. So make sure that your values on there are matching. And if there's any issue, just reach out and refresh your data and make sure all of that is happening. And as soon as you're happy with the strategy to start trading, you can just click on the start button, and then that will start trading, at the times that you've got set in there. And obviously you can pause it whenever you want to. This does have the option to adjust the sliders in real time. So, what this also provides is you are able to do real-time strategy analyzer optimizations. And if, for example, you're doing a continuous strategy where you're trading continuously from market open to market close, and you've got a strategy analyzer window in the background, you can actually run the strategy analyzer in real time and adjust the settings in here to match the best settings in your strategy analyzer. And then it'll start acting on those new settings. So quite a cool feature. And I'm actually going to be automating that whole setup in the very near future, where templates are actually preloaded up and then updated during the day, and then strategies are automatically updated. In fact, this strategy already has that feature, but it's just, I'm not running the back end of updating those templates. So yeah, there's some really cool things we got to work with here. So guys, that was a lot of information to cover. So a bit of technical issues there, unfortunately, with the stupid software that I'm using, the video software, with me not clicking the right things. But let's just switch back to our workspace for the indicators very quickly and see what that looks like, and see how those signals have been plotting for us. And then we'll end the call there. Okay, so looking absolutely beautiful with our signal chart. Look how fantastic that, we're still waiting for our Fibonacci levels to load. So let that finish calculating before you do anything. So the Fibonacci levels do take a bit longer to load because it's actually loading a lot of back data for that indicator. But there they all are. There's your Fibonacci levels. There's all your breakout volume markers. So we've had a tremendous push down. And from the beginning of the call where we saw this happen in real time, we've got fantastic signals. I mean, you don't need to go and understand, like I said before, candlestick analysis or freaking any of that bullshit, because this is your ultimate guaranteed price levels chart where you can see exactly to the tick where bars open, where bars close, how long each bar is going to be. And, just providing absolutely fantastic signals. And, these volume breakout markers are absolutely priceless when it comes to, just pushing that marker down or up or down in a specific direction. And those markers are left behind. They are powerful signals. Cool. So thank you guys for jumping on the call. Goodness gracious me. There we go. That's it. Guys, thanks for jumping on the call, and we'll do the same thing next week. Just please make sure you post your screenshots of your results from the game plan, and I'll be doing that daily also. And let's have a kick-ass week. And hopefully next week I can get this. I don't know what I'm doing with this green screen. I bought this green screen. I don't know actually what I'm going to, well, I've got it. I might have something to put behind it, on it. And that's it. Hey guys, thank you and have a good one and chat soon. Cheers.